Hi everyone, my name is Natalia and thank you so much for opening this video and finding the time, and I hope it will be helpful for you. I would like to talk about the risk assessments and how they can help your business. So let's dive in. Hey guys, before we will start, let me just provide a little bit of a background about myself. I do have 20 years experience in oil and gas globally, as well as 8 years experience here in North America. My main industry, energy sector. And in April 2025, I decided to found AccuSafeServe and start to provide my independent consultancy and help the businesses locally here or internationally. All right. WorkSafe BC risk assessment requirements or occupational health and safety regulation. So before I will start to explain, I wanted to make it clear. So guys, this is the requirement not only from WorkSafe BC, British Columbia, Canada, but it's across Canada. As you know, every province or territory has a bit of a difference in language, but I will assure you this is the requirement for any province, and I would say probably every country or every project. And don't think that if you're in not a high risk sector, it's not applicable for you, or like it's very low. I'm working from home, Natalia, or I do like a little administrative work and we cut the hair, we have a daycare. Look, this is applicable to every business, and believe me, there will be hazards that needs to be identified and calculated. So again, repeating a bit myself, but mandatory for all employers as a matter of the level of the risk. And general duty, you must identify hazards, assess the risk, and implement controls. What are the specific triggers? It can be everything and anything. I just put it for the sake of example: violence, working alone, muscular skeleton injuries, emergencies, rescue. Trust me, almost every business may have an emergency. Even you just type in something at home may can come to the point of an emergency, where you need the first aid, new equipment and processes, and frequency. So frequency, it is annual based, but if you do have any change to your process or your business, you need to make those adjustments in your risk assessment. So based on my experience, guys, I know how it can be pretty time demanding and even boring to watch somebody's slides. So I decided to make it a bit more entertaining rather than regular. So my topic today will be Formula One. And if you're not in racing, at least you know how this sport bullet look like, and basics of what are the rules and what may apply in terms of safety. So this slide showing you two time shots. One is at 1950 versus today, and you cannot even sometimes stop and imagine how what a leap of experience as well as us to develop and improve. So this is safety tech evolution of sport cars. In 50s, they hope that the engine will not explode right in their faces while they're driving cars. And 2025, think about that. Remodel 3 failure modes, mitigate 2, and train the third one out of the existence. So that's how calculated, right? People in 50s, they were just jumping into the car and enter to the race. That's what exactly Shelby experienced. If you know about Shelby, he was working at the farm, and then wearing the same coverall, he will jump to the car and will go and race. That's why, by the way, coveralls came that because he was wearing the coverall for the farm work, and then he was racing in this coverall. And that's the history of little tip for you guys. So going back to the safety tech evolution and risks, think about that. We're in 50s we started, and where we are today. That's incredible, right? So now look at this slide. I thought it's amazing, guys, when I saw this picture online. So this is the evolution of the wheel, and this is where we started, and this is where we are. And fact that it's incredible that when the industrial age kicked off in 19th century, 20th century, and when they tried to increase the production, there was a lot of accidents. There was a lot of people suffered and injured, and there was a whole battle in between, to make sure that finally the workers have rights and can be protected. But put it nevertheless on the side. It's interesting that how humanity have this eager to develop, to improve. So risk assessment has the same sort of a format when you want to improve. You do have your tools, your environment, you're providing input, and then you want to improve it, right, to make it better. So this is exactly the concept that you need to apply whenever you think about the risk assessment, when you initiate the process, that no matter where you start, you can keep doing the steps to improve every time. So it's not like a process where you just want to check the box and say, hey, I'm compliant, I'm doing that once in a year, and that's it, enough. But it's also a time for you to think and reassess if there's anything else I can do to make it better. Because it's not going only to help me to be compliant with the today's regulation. It's also maybe to be beyond other businesses when you're doing more than other businesses, just bare to bone compliance, and also it will attract their employees. It will make the work smooth where the production may increase. Now, let's just have a look. It's a bit of a theoretical material here, just to walk you through the cycle, how it works, just to make it more visual for you to understand. It's only 4 steps, and what exactly where you start and where you're supposed to be. So first is identify risks. Then access the risk, control the risk, and review controls. That's it. It's easy, right? Four steps only. So when you identify hazards, you just need to pinpoint the potential issues. It might be existing right now. It might be also, you can touch base with other businesses in the same industry and see if whatever they face, because you might not have it right now, but you can consider, right? So the next is when you're assessing the risk, you're using metric. So I prefer to use 1 to 5. I know WorkSafe BC had the format 1 to 3. I can adapt to whatever your expectations. My preference 1 to 5, maybe because again it's the most popular in my industry, and I think it gives you more sort of a room and space to maneuver, to kind of having not like between bad, middle, and hey, good, kind of a better spectrum to recognize where you are with your risk. And then mitigating controls, apply elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative measures, or PP. So I will talk about this hierarchy of controls a bit later, but just to give you a heads up how you're supposed to apply controls after you assess your risk. And then you have to review and update this information, because things can honestly change on a, well, depends on the industry, daily basis, or once upon a time, or in a blue moon. But again, I would always recommend to have a look at your risk assessment, even though if it's annual basis and you don't really have changes, it's the same routine every time, but just have a look and see if there's anything can be improved. Sort of like, like never stop when it comes to self-improvement and development. Now let's talk about the benefits. Before we look into the process more detailed, I want to speak about the benefits. And the first that comes and forward, those money, right? Financial firepower. So if you think about that, here is the little table just to show you the risk ignored and risk assessed and controlled. I might exaggerate it a bit just for the sake of, again, exercise and making sure that you get the idea. Let's say, for example, I cannot like 100% assure you that you will never have claims, depends on the risk level and your business nature, but claims may happen. And if you do assess the risk and put the controls, you can lower your premiums, even if you're in a high, in a high level of risk. And then think about the downtime in case if the incident happened. So let's say it's fire, and if you do have something to respond to that right at the time of the action, let's say suppression system, so you may completely, shut down the downtime except just cleaning. And lawsuits, nobody wants to have them, but you may. There's again no assurance that you will never have them. But if you do document your due diligence, and this is, trust me guys, through my experience, I learned one thing: you have to keep your records intact always. So keep everything that will show that you cared as an employer and you actually did everything possible to prevent the incident to happen. So you hear me, right? So that's why risk assessment is incredibly good tool for you to exercise, and probably more than once in the year. So here's the little fact for you, that every $1 in prevention save you $4 to $7. So it's not my calculation, it's OSHA, but I think they're right. Trust me, a lot of companies don't want to invest into safety because basically it's sort of like a life insurance, or when you pay insurance for, let's say, your house, to make sure if it's in fire, just you will get your portion to recover, right? So safety kind of if I can put this reference in the same realm, when you sort of trying to put things in place before something to happen. So and it's a good thing because sort of a discipline to make sure that you know where you're standing. It's like, do you know how much money in your wallet right now at this point of time? But a lot of people know. Same with the safety and recognizing the risks. So not a lot of people actually know the risks, as well as what are the control measures they want to put in place, or they can put in place to improve. So besides financial, let's talk about compliance and operational velocity. So nobody wants to have a surprise, right? The shutdown, when you have to do things and you have to stop the production and take care of the things that happen. Believe me, this is somewhere nobody wants to be. And same as like on the road, when you drive in the car every day, and if you see the accident on the road, you're looking at this and you think for a second, oh, nobody wants to be there, right? Nobody wants to have an accident. So this is something that makes you to be prepared, right? And fix predictable things that you can take care of right now, rather than they become a big avalanche issue later. And trust me, supply chain trust. The clients will see. I don't know about the small companies, but being over 20 years in oil and gas, when you as a client, let's say you want to hire the company, you want to see the records. So during the bidding process, you're going through the logs and seeing how many accidents they had, how did they handle those accidents, what's the trajectory when they. To me, it's like one thing when the accident happened, another thing how you treated it. Did you learn from this, and how you pivot from this and try to make a change? So that's about not only compliance, but also make sure you are ready for something that can happen in any time. Talent Turbo. I kind of touched base that a bit earlier, but trust me, in our days where you can Google anything, or even worse, or better, depends how you look at this, you can ask the chatbot. It's ChatGPT or Grok. Can you please tell me the history of this company? And this bot is looking into the whatever history you have behind, and can provide you sort of an information from the articles, from your website, from anything and everything that ever been placed in a space of information, internet. So in 50s, there was a sort of a struggle, right? There was a tough time after the World War II, and people wanted the job just to, to bring the food on the table. Rather than today, we choose the place that we believe is safe. I'm not speaking about everybody, but in general, think about that. If you do have a choice between the employer that has a good reputation versus the employer that had a shady reputation, and again, remember there is a scoring system for the employers and companies right now. People checking before going and having an interview. They don't only check your website to make sure that they will address your questions, but they also wanted to know what other people think about your company, the clients, the people who work for this company. So here we go. That's your reputation, right? You don't want to turn over. You wanted to make sure that you have a clean reputation and you can attract not only just the talent, but also clients. To expand a bit about the reputation, because for each business it may be different, right? Somebody will care about their reputation. Somebody will feel like, oh, we do like essential services, and again, still there is this social opinion that you will still need to make sure that it's clean, and it's not only just your clients, it's also community that will be satisfied with the results. So zero incidents, PR gold. I saw a lot of times when companies want to PR on zero incidents, and again, as a health and safety professional, I would say it's a good target, but do not expect that one company will never have an innocent incident. Sorry, guys. So again, it's a good PR step, but you also need to show the evidence that you're working hard to improve. Of course, you also can have badges like in nowadays it's ISO or COR, just to uh, provide that, sort of a certificate showing the contractors or potential clients that, hey, I'm a good business. A social license to operate, community cheers. As I said right in the beginning, talking about the slide, I think this is one of the most important ones. Again, being in oil and gas business for quite a while, it was always for us essential to make sure the community that we're coming into, we wanted to address all their issues and concerns about specialist safety and security. So this is something that you want to earn and you want to develop and you want to maintain. Hey guys, sorry, but this is a bit of a detailed slide. For those who know what is about hazard analysis, it will be a bit boring, but I will just make it quickly to make sure that people who never did that before or have a bit of a vague idea. So what are the steps? The steps, you need to identify a scope, and you need to look at the crew that you're looking into, like to analyze their environment, brainstorm what exactly can hurt, damage, or disrupt the work. Categorize those hazards like physical, chemical, administrative, and then verify through the logs, measurements, or any other records that will provide you sort of a support. Yes, this is the process. And then when you collected all this data, you use your matrix 5x5 and you set up the assessment itself. So here, guys, is just, again, one of the examples that I pulled from internet just to show you 5x5, how it's look like scoring criteria. Usually those are two spaces where you will see severity impact and probability impact. And since 5x5, it will give you a bit of more room to maneuver when it comes to minor to major. So the green space will show you, hey, this is under control. We have good tools that we can make sure that we're in a safe space. Yellow, it kind of in the middle, and it will tell you like, hey, we may have something in place, but we may improve, or red space is like, hey, it's a red flag. So there is something very critical that needs to be addressed. So as soon as you go through this exercise, you will start with the critical ones to make sure that they address them first, and then go lower down for the yellow, and just make sure that the green will stay green. Of risk assessment. This is a real one. I did it for one of the clients, and so just again to give you an idea how it looked like. So that was done for the transportation company, and here I'm just again for the sake of exercise showing you how the risk scenario identified, and then how you provide the description, and then you do your scoring when it comes to Measure Impossible, and you provide the score itself, and then the system again, like for example, I'm using usually the Excel sheets to calculate, and it's easy, and something like that I can provide you for free. So again, if you're a business where you prefer to do it by yourself, and hopefully this video will help you to give you an idea where to start with, and I can provide this format. It's easy, clean, you can modify as you want, and there are formulas that will calculate the risk for you, and then you're looking into how you're going to mitigate those risks. I can sit down with you, help you to do your input, do the scoring first time if it's first time exercise for you, or if it's not first time and you just want sort of like a guidance, and help you to develop your mitigation controls or mitigation measures to reduce the risk and help to control the risk. All right. So as I promised, let's talk about the hierarchy of controls pretty quick. Again, I don't want to take a lot of time here, because in a private session I can spend more time to explain you how it works, but it's basically 5 steps, or 5 options to choose from. Elimination, let me just give you a simple example. Let's say since we're talking about the cars, elimination, remove the hazard completely. Let's say if it's the really heavy rain, we decided to cancel because it's unsafe track for the Formula One cars to go. Like I remember, again in the 60s and probably 70s, they were still driving in like pissing rain. And right now, this is one of the things when they calculate and decide how bad is the rain and what will be the risk. Substitutions, for the safer option, again, like switch to slick tires, for example, better tires in the rain. Engineering, isolate with the technical guards, let's say at barriers or alter brakes. Again, talking about racing cars. Administrative rules, training, signs, speed limits, shift rotation, for example. And PPE, this is the last one, of course, helmet and gloves that look like lollipops. Fire suits to make sure that if the car will be in a fire, so the the coverall will not catch a fire immediately, and will give a bit of a time for a person to get out. So this is the hierarchy of controls. The first elimination, this is the most probably powerful, and PPE, personal protective equipment, the less powerful. That's why it's a hierarchy, and it has this sort of a shape of a pyramid upside down. So you want to start from here, and you go and see whatever is applicable to your case, what you can do, and how it can improve your readiness for a catastrophe or disaster, let's say, because you have to look always critically to the worst case scenario. Are you ready for this worst case scenario? And if it's yes, what exactly you do when it happens? And just to make sure also that not only just you doing that by yourself, this one needs to be shared with your team. And I find it's always great to have a brainstorm between people on the ground, like boots on the ground, people from leadership, people who are engineers and can bring sort of their perspective and view. So you want everybody in there, honestly. It takes a bit of a time. It's a brainstorm. Sometimes it can be a bit of even frustrating exercise, but honestly, by the end of the day, at least you have input of everybody, confirmation this is the best, and something for you to have solid. And again, your due diligence that you work in the best case scenario for something that can be very critical for your business. And here we go, guys. It's conclusion, and I wanted just to sort of summarize that was discussed, or I walk you through. So again, think about safety and risk assessment as a strategy for your business, and risk assessment itself is sort of a telemetry. It's sort of a scale where um, you can exercise the scenarios and see what exactly is your cup of tea, as well as sort of triggering the process of thinking if there's anything else that can help. And in my case, a lot of time I would look into other companies who are working in the same industry and see what their experience, right, and what exactly they come to, let's say, control certain hazards, and again, how we can improve, and then we'll learn from each other. It's not like you know, competing with each other here. Actually, here you really want to help each other. So one cycle, think about that: life saved, million million earns if it's Formula One, and culture upgraded, because as soon as you pull these people to talk about the risks and as well as what are controls available, you will feel that, first of all, there is an involvement of the team, their time to talk through, and then for you guys to find this balance and the best solutions. A lap, you know, when they do that in the Formula One, the winner going exactly on this empty road because he's first or she's first, and there's a fireworks, and there's so much excitement and stuff like that. So run the process on the podium, right? So that's my kind of analogy with Formula One. Started and completed. Never drop it in the middle of the process. My first consultation is free, guys. When I say first consultation, it means we will talk through, and I will provide you free template to use if you want to, or you can give it to me, whatever you have right now in place, and we can start from there. I can map the process live and run through the gap analysis where you need a little tweaks or my suggestion how it can be edited or tailored in a way that will reflect better your hazards, and we'll run it, and we'll see if this is exactly you're looking for, if it's convincing, and we can team up. And I will still need your input because it's your business and you know better exactly. Maybe just a couple of interviews, with the people who work for you, like right, let's say in action, and I will handle the hazard assessment itself. We'll provide you the full register, and let's make sure it will be updated continuously. Or you can run the process by yourself by just get in touch with me. I will provide you the template, and I will show you how to use it.